continuation of that video. Yeah, I didn't know. So I had that stent in my aorta, had a bunch of bacteria in it. It was starting to kill me. That's why I was throwing up almost every day. I couldn't eat stuff. I was getting weak. I lost like 30 pounds or something crazy. But, you know, that's life for you. But I got it taken out. But now that it's taken out, I had to go to the hospital 4 different times. 4 different times. The first 2 times, all they could tell me was, you know, you need to stop drinking. The first trip was maybe like 5 or 6 hours in the ER. I got to talk to the doctor for a minute. And he said, you know, you might, have liver disease and you need to stop drinking. I said, okay. Then I stopped drinking for 3 weeks and I had to go back to another hospital. And I said, something's still not right. Something's wrong. And the doctor there, I think I waited there for 10.5 hours, almost 11. He pretty much said, he talked to me for a minute and a half. No, actually 2 minutes. Because I remember at the minute and a half mark, the nurse comes in and says some other people were probably about to leave the ER because they felt like they'd waited too long. So he ended up saying something, don't drink and leave. And he wrote me a prescription because I was itching like somebody crazy. Itching, like my fingertips were itching. The bottoms of my feet were itching. It was bizarre. Initially, I thought it was going to be one of those things with my hands were itching. I talked to my mother and she's like, well, that means you might be coming in with some money. And I'm like, hell yeah. My hands were itching like a motherfucker. I'm like, it's about to go down. But yeah, it turns out that was not the case. So I had to deal with the itching. Then it kind of went away. Then I started drinking again because I was like, well, they don't know what's wrong. And I said, you know what? And then something really bad happened. I started losing more weight. I'm like, there's something really wrong. Either I'm like slowly dying of some sort of cancer or something else, or I'm having like the slowest heart attack ever because I took some water up some stairs one day at my mother's and I thought I was gonna die. It's like 17, 18 steps. And I'm like, I had like a 48 case of water or something like that. And I'm like, holy smokes. I'm like, I'm breathing funny. It was terrible. So went back to the hospital. This is a different one. I went back to the one I went to the first time and they got me within 30 to 45 minutes because I mentioned some respiratory issues. I don't know if they really take that a lot more seriously than a generic, I think this is wrong or I think that's wrong. But I said I have some respiratory issues because I was having some problems breathing. It wasn't like I was wheezing or dying, but something definitely wasn't right. So they got me in. They gave me an MRI and all I could think was, man, this is going to be expensive because I don't have insurance. What is? They gave me an MRI. Then they said, well, we need to do a CT scan. So they did a CT scan. This all happened within 45 minutes of me being there. And all the other times I was there for like 5 or 6 hours or 10 hours, sometimes, 15 hours, depending on the ER you go to. So I'm like, something must be up. Because, obviously they're getting me in like, hey, and it turns out it was the stent that was in my aorta. And it was basically getting all this bacteria in a stent. Basically, obviously, if you know what it does, you know what it does. It's this little thing. It's about yay big. They put one that big inside of me. It was like a straw. And I guess it was because I had some surgeries. And it was big surgery that I had. I had to have 9 surgeries some years ago because I had a really bad car accident. And they had to cut me open and take my guts out and everything. My ribs broke. And they basically turned into weapons inside my body. Basically cutting up my intestines, shredding up my insides. I had like 3 holes in my aorta. It was a mess. I was all Humpty Dumpty. That's what I was telling the doctors. Like, I was all Humpty Dumpty. But I thank the doctors. I thank the nurses over at SLU Hospital because they did a wonderful, wonderful job. I was in a coma for 3.5 weeks. I want to say thank you to all the medical people out there, medical professionals that do anything with that. Doctors, nurses, anybody that works in the hospital, anybody that does it. Thank you so much. And my little time of just going back to the hospital for that stuff, I was thanking them then too. I'm still very, very grateful. But I was telling people, just be grateful because these people are doing a lot, especially with this whole corona mess and all these other things. But to deal with people all day that are sick, that are miserable, and sometimes these people want to come in and be mean to the people that are treating them. That's absurd to me. It is absolutely absurd. If you're one of those people that does that, I know I don't have a lot of viewers for this, but hopefully this goes and people watch it, just to watch it. Shame on you. I know you're sick. I know you're miserable. I know shit's going on, but everybody's got something going on. And for these people to have to deal with the things they have to deal with and save lives and deal with people being ungrateful and nasty to them, that's like a travesty within itself, in my opinion. So please act like adults and don't bite the goddamn hand that feeds you, okay? For real, because these people are doing some great stuff. Doctors don't know everything. Nurses don't know everything. But these people are there trying to care, trying to figure it out. Because even in my case, I went 2 times, they pretty much disregarded me and say, hey, you drink too much. The third time, they're like, oh shit, something's actually wrong. It wasn't the drinking. It was that, that stent was in there. So they ended up taking it out, went back to SLU. They took it out at SLU, got me in. It was cool because I got a big old scar from here to there. It's kind of gnarly scar. It's kind of cool though. I thought they were going to cut me back open. They're like, no, we just go through your mouth. I'm like, you go through my mouth? Like, no way. So they ended up taking it out within a couple of days, within hours. I woke up, I felt a million times better. But then they had me come back the week after just for a cleanup session. And it was amazing. So I'm very grateful to the doctors and the nurses there at the hospital, and also at St. Mary's and at any hospital. Whomever watches this, if you're a healthcare professional or you're a healthcare worker on any level, whether you're working with people or not, thank you from me to you sincerely from the bottom of my heart, because you deal with a lot. And you guys pretty much are doing God's work on earth here. It's crazy. And I hate the fact that the medical profession has, for the most part, in my opinion, become a business, because it's so business oriented. Everybody's talking about money, because like in my situation, I'm like, I don't have insurance, and it's like that kind of happened before, but then using it, he wrote it off because it was so much money I could never pay him. I was unemployed. I'd lost my job because obviously I was in an accident and I was in a coma for 3 weeks. I'd lost like 50 pounds. So there's not a point where I'm able to just go back and, hey, I'm going to work and make all this money and pay you guys back. Like, it's not going to happen. Let's just be fucking realistic about it. No disrespect for anybody, but we need to fix this medical system we have here. Because I know when people have it, they're always complaining about other people that don't have it, like they're going to have to pay something extra. We should just have some sort of generic medical plan for this country where people, if you're working, a little bit of money should get taken out, scaled as to what you make and what your expenditures are, to basically provide health care. And we should have a certain amount of money, because Lord knows there's enough fucking money floating around. I've worked so many places. It's like working in a baseball stadium and seeing that people are hungry outside. There's so much food that gets thrown away. It would make you cry. And this is perfectly good food. You're working in grocery stores. I work at a grocery store now. I had to totally jump out of my thing and go work at the store to see the level of food that even in a small store that gets, it's expired product we can't use, hams, like full out fillets, all this other stuff. And you think about how many stores are. We have enough money in this country to feed the goddamn world if we wanted to, but we choose not to. We have enough money to make sure everybody's got health insurance and health care, but we don't want to. We need to figure out what that problem is and why we run that deficit, because it's just, life's going to be unfair. It's not supposed to be fair. It's never going to be like, oh, we're fucking holding hands and singing Kumbaya. That would be ideal, because we could actually evolve and do something greater. But the powers that be, whomever they are, sometimes they're us, sometimes they're others, don't want to see that happen, because all of a sudden they lose that power. It's not about money. It's about that power. It's about that power structure. It's about stepping on someone else that's weaker than you, or putting someone else in a position where they're beneath you. So those who are out there watching this, if someone that is one of those people, think about what you're doing. One day we all die. I don't know if you believe in God or not, the universe, the cosmos. Somebody's going to ask you what the hell you did down here. And they know what you did before you can even answer. Well, I gave some people some jobs. What are your intentions? And why are we not taking better care of each other? Because we had it all. This is a great country. This is a great planet. We have so much. There's such an abundance. You see these people that are billionaires and multimillionaires. How the hell is somebody hungry? That's all I'm saying. Even when you don't have a lot, you still have something to give someone else. So stop being so damn selfish. I mean, literally, people down here just, it's amazing. And also the lack of hands-onness that we have. We're so detached from each other. And this whole Corona thing, COVID-19, I think it's just made it worse, because it gives people more validation and not talking to other people, not being together, not knowing one another. Because when you don't know anybody, you don't give a fuck about them, honestly. It's like, it's either you or me, motherfucker. If someone knows you, they're less likely to want to screw you, and they're more likely to want to help you. But when they don't know you, you're just some random ass name on a resume somewhere, or just some random person on a court docket. This is what this person did. This is what you're an equation. You're a very easily figured out equation. This is what you are. This is who you add up to. And that's very unfair. That is very unfair of the world, but that's kind of where we're going. So we need to wake up. We need to step out of this, and we need to understand what's important. What's important? What's important is people. Not all this. Money's just paper. When you really start thinking about it, it can be more, it can be less. Shit gets taken care of. It's not going to be the beginning. It's not going to be the end. It's just stuff. We want stuff. We're addicted to stuff. Why? Like, who needs a $2 million car? Who needs a $30 million house? It's ridiculous. It's nice to see that it's new income streams and income revenues for a lot of people to sell those properties, to build those properties, but it only includes a certain percentage of the population. And the more people buy stuff, and the more money they spend, the more that inflation, which is also imaginary, kind of goes up, and up. And if you're a normal dude out here working, and you're a normal gal out here working, and you're only making this much, and you got kids to take care of and other responsibilities, and you want to try to do something, this makes your life very, very difficult because everything is so much more money now. I was waiting tables. All of a sudden, you get a $100 tip from one table, a four top that was only there for an hour. You're grateful and you're happy, and the bill was like $200. They left you another 100. You didn't fucking juggle. You didn't do anything. You just handled your fucking business. All of a sudden, that $100 is like nothing. It's not like you're ungrateful. You definitely still make an effort to go find them and thank them. But $100 ain't shit. $1 million isn't what it used to be. I mean, money goes so fast. So let's just try to figure out how we do something new with that. And I think the whole thing about the corona is I feel like it's a good time for us to sit down and evaluate where we are and where we're going. Because sometimes we're not really going anywhere. It's bad. It's bad news bears, whether you're the guy making $2, $3, $4 million a year or the guy making $30,000, $40,000 a year. It's bad news bears. We're not taking care of each other. Our value system is very fucked up and very skewed. We need to realize what we're here for, and that's to take care of each other, to make this world a better place, and to really do something. We can be our own superheroes. Everybody's talking about watching Marvel movies and sometimes, but not so much DC movies. No knock against DC. They just want to put out the good stuff. But we forget who the true heroes are, and that's us. For being here, for showing up every day, for going to work. But we have to really go to like superhero level when we start figuring out the problems and seeing where they are and fixing them. And knowing that sometimes some people let the problems stay what they are because they're benefiting from the problem. And it's not bad, but it's not good either, because it's like, well, if people aren't getting in trouble as much, we don't need as much law enforcement, or we don't need lawyers, and we don't need, judges. We'll still need these people. They're still viable members of society, especially law enforcement. Thank you, law enforcement. I know there's been a lot of crazy stuff out there. People have been good to me. I'm not going to lie. I've had some troubles in my day. People have been good to me. I tell people, be polite. Things work out. And even if you're not, even if people aren't good to you, God always gets everything back. So fear not. We have to evolve. We have to be better than we've been. And that is my wish. That is my prayer. My birthday's coming up soon. People say, what do you want for your birthday? I'm not talking about world peace, but I want us to understand what's going on and be better to each other. The fact that we're buying $800 phones with money we don't have and turning them around and buying another one 2 years later. You're paying for a phone for longer than you're paying for a goddamn car. And you're switching it out all the time. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. It's bizarre. It's like, you told somebody this shit was happening 30 years ago. They think you were out of your goddamn mind. Like, how many channels are on TV? How many people become famous from, like, Lord knows what? We don't even know. We're just blind fucking people doing some stuff. So please wake up. I'm not saying we got to overturn the world, but we get to reinvent the wheel. And I think it's a beautiful thing because it can work out for a lot of us. There's some people that don't want to do shit. They don't want to work. They don't want to be contributing members of society. You know what? Let them be where they are. Because you know what? They're going to get better. I've worked in places where people didn't really care to work that much. And all of a sudden you come along and maybe you're a boss or something like that. And you work hard. And they're like, who the hell is this guy? What's he doing? All of a sudden other people start to work a little bit harder just because you do. Not because you said you should. Not because their jobs are in jeopardy. Just because all of a sudden they saw there's a challenge. All of a sudden they start doing a little bit better. And there's some motion. You still might have a couple people that ain't doing shit. But you know what? It's only a couple. And you know what? Those couple, they're still going to be there. We'll take care of them either way. That's just going to help us shine even more. Don't forget, when you got that shine, baby, you got that shine. So small shit doesn't bother you. If somebody not working hard doesn't bother you, you will carry them, and other people will carry. That's society. I think we only have a small percentage of people that don't want to do anything, that want to just sit at home and not do anything and let the government and everybody. That's okay. Let them do that, because we have a lot of other people that make ass loads of money, and they're pretty much not doing anything either, except lying and cheating and making ass loads of money. But we celebrate them. Why? The face is a little different. It's a prettier picture. This guy, he's doing corporate stuff, but he's embezzling money and doing this and doing that. But he drives a Bentley and has a house in the Hamptons and has a nice Rolex. We admire that. But all of a sudden you realize he stole $50 million. He can actually take the money that he stole and pay for a really great attorney and maybe go to jail or get put on probation and not pay people back and still be that guy. And we hey, that, when it's a mom who's on some welfare and, might probably getting a couple of extra dollars. They're like, whoa, that's my money. Nah, it's not, we need to understand what's truly important. And that's us showing up and doing the best job we can do. And not worrying, stay in your own race, stay in your own lane. Don't worry about what these other motherfuckers are doing. Worry about what you're doing and worry about how we can make it better for each other, for real. Because for the most part, they're not going to do anything. I usually find the people with the most don't want to do shit. And the people with the least don't want to do shit. But the people in the middle, they make up all the difference in the world. So we can't really get involved in that because that's not something we're going to win. Let them do what they do. But we can be better. I believe in us. I totally and completely believe in us as people. We can do it. So let's have a wonderful, wonderful 2021. Let's understand when we went wrong. Let's listen more. Let's try to spend some more time with each other. You know, the whole social distancing thing's still weird, but let's spend more time together. I mean, if we can, is talk and just kind of, sometimes things are a conversation piece. It's not like you're even going for a definitive answer, like, oh, we've got an answer, we came up with a resolution. Sometimes it's not that. Sometimes it's the level of awareness that we have. And a lot of times we're not aware of shit. We just kind of go and we're like, oh, you know, and as soon as you start to get a little bit more, you care, but you don't care. It's like people that get a lot more, and all of a sudden those problems that they had are no longer their problems, it's somebody else's problem. So their voice is different. Their whole intention for everything is different. And so they kind of left that part. I kind of call it like one of those things from old school battle movies like Braveheart or whatever, you know, where they go fight in the middle and they got swords and stuff, because that's battle, baby. That's fucking battle. Not taking anything away from our warriors that we had today. Thank you for all that you do. But, you know, all of a sudden you see some guys go and meet in the middle to see, okay, do we really have to have this war? And all of a sudden somebody's like, well, hey, if we don't, you know, side with us, make this stop. We're going to give you this. We're going to take care of that. We're going to give, you know, 10 of your people, la, 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 la. Everything's still going to be the same, but you're going to have a lot more. And then people will say, you know what? That's not so bad. Everybody's kind of getting something out of it, and I'm getting a whole lot out of it. My friends are getting a whole lot, so let's just stop. But then you stop, and the people at the bottom are still suffering. Those guys in the back, they're still suffering. But, you know, it's not so bad because you're not suffering anymore. So people lose that perspective, because once you start getting what you need, it's like, well, the voice starts to change. The world seems like a better place. It's a better place for you, but it's not a better place for everybody else. And the fact that some people just kind of reserve themselves to just going where they go is okay. And it's not okay, because people are still suffering. I'm not saying we got to sit here and all suffer and cry and be like, oh, no, Lord, what's going to happen? But we have an abundance. And instead of wondering how we can feed ourselves and make ourselves fatter, we need to see what we can do for others. You know, even if you want to make yourself fatter, here's the challenge. Help somebody else get a little fat, then go gain some weight yourself. How's that sound? Anywho, I'm just saying I'm very grateful. It's 2020. We got 2 days left in the year. It's my birthday. If anybody sees this, that's my birthday wish. Become more aware. Share what you know with the world. Listen to others. Be kind. And let's figure out how we can make things better for all of us, not just some of us. And this whole healthcare thing, it needed to be solved years ago. The government, they don't really care. They like to squabble. You think every single election, everybody's talking about healthcare. We've been talking about healthcare for 50, 60 years, whatever. That should be something that was resolved, because all of a sudden it's no longer an issue. We got people, they're getting taken care of. Medical treatment's great. Everything's wonderful, but everything's a business. Everybody's, how can we get more money? How can we get more of this and that? Then all of a sudden everything gets kind of parlayed and pushed back, and all the politics of everything get involved, and it becomes so crazy that nothing gets done at all, and everybody's just so blinded by the light, like, I don't know what happened today. So let's pray and let's help each other make the world a better place in terms of health insurance, in terms of food. Nobody should be hungry. Also, nobody should be cold. Nobody should be cold. It's cold outside. People shouldn't be cold. I know some people are mentally ill and they're homeless by choice, and they're just kind of crazy, and people out there on drugs real bad. Let's pray for them, and let's see if we can do something to make this world a better place, because truth be told, I believe, this is my belief, we can all be better people, and we all have a lot to offer. So let's do it. Let's do it. The challenge is there. Be a goddamn superhero. I'm out.